Hello everyone. I've had a very successful and enjoyable weekend. Got my Amiga 500 operating successfully, it appears. A little bit, a few hiccups, but it seems to be working now. And I've immediately returned to my favourite from 30 years ago nearly, Peter Turcan's Dreadnoughts game, and played the training scenario from that, and also managed to pass the signal through a DVD recorder, so that I've been able to record my game, and I'm going to be able to put it up onto YouTube. So that's what I'm about to do. Yeah, it was such good fun. The graphics, you soon forget how clunky and clumsy and blocky the graphics are. You just get absorbed by the problems set you, and trying to control your ships and seek out the enemy and so on. It's just such good fun. But anyway, this map that I showed you on a previous video, this is actually the training scenario game, and it involves 4 light cruisers from the First World War on the British side under a hypothetical Admiral Sheldrake, and 4 light cruisers on the German side under an Admiral Tapkin. Now I chose to play the British side, and they start off in the Solent, and that's it. You have to learn. You've got the instruction manual that's got an explanation of the how the game plays and various orders that the artificial intelligence will understand. So it's all down to sort of grammar, the grammar that you use and the particular words that you choose. But unlike Armada, the game set in 1588 that I've also got, with this game it was like the final sort of example of Peter Turcan's games, really. That I'm not aware that he did anything after Dreadnoughts, and he did introduce a sort of drop down menu type of arrangement so that you could select words and compose sentences from a menu, and it made it much easier rather than fumbling around trying to think of what the right words were. Although I did find there were certain orders that it understood even though they weren't written in here. So things like engage the enemy, it understood that even though there isn't that specific order in here. But anyway, you'll see more of that later. So the only problem I had was that I actually ran the game from one of the original discs here, this Dreadnoughts floppy disk here, and in fact that turned out to be not a big problem, but it did cause an issue in that what you're supposed to do, or as I remember now, is when you get these games you're meant to copy them. It's a sort of an odd idea for sort of modern day people worried about copyright protection and so on. But I did have this floppy disk here that I tried and I couldn't get it to run. But I'm going to have another go with this now. But and the whole reason there's a problem is that this disk is write protected. There's a little slot here, and you can move that backwards and forwards, and it's actually write protected. Whereas you want that hole to be closed, and that allows the game to be saved at intervals, because they can take. I mean, even this training scenario took me most of Sunday to play through, and obviously there are times when you have to leave and do other things, get on with your life. So you want to be able to save the game, and I couldn't do that, and it kept every half an hour of the simulation, it kept asking me to say, it tried automatically to save the game, and came up with an error when it couldn't, and I just had to sort of click through that. But I've edited as much as I can of all those kind of hiccups and things out. Still a very long video, and the first sort of half of it is really me fumbling around, showing my efforts to relearn the controls and understand the map, and get oriented on where I was, and then set off and try and find the German fleet. And it was only after about half an hour that I remembered that on this particular map, you probably can't see it here because it's not zoomed in enough, but it's actually got the initial starting positions of both the players, not just Sheldrake but Tapkin as well. So that would, if I'd remembered that earlier, it would have given me an idea of where the German fleet might be patrolling, or the German vessels might be patrolling. And then I also had the bright idea a little bit late on that you can sort of get views from various geographical locations. So Portland Bill here juts out south into the English Channel, so I decided to look from Portland Bill, see if I could spot the Germans, and that was when I saw them out to sea and knew roughly where they were and could set off in pursuit of them. But anyway, you'll see all this. Apologies for the length of the video, and also it's not really apologies, but you will recognise immediately how antiquated the images look, but it was such good fun, and it ends up like a kind of bat rep. So I'm certainly in the future going to replay some historical scenarios. I might start with something like the Battle of the River Plate or something where there aren't very many ships involved, and give you some sort of bat reps on that as well. So hope you enjoy it. Right, first we select the training scenario, and then I'm going to choose to be Admiral Sheldrake and let the computer play Admiral Tapkin. I'm selecting yes for it to show the ship's captain's decisions and to save the data every simulated half an hour. That turns out to be the wrong thing to do. I'll show you why later on in the game. So to begin with, you get a slightly kind of bewildering presentation. You're shown your flagship and its progress, direction of travel, and your watch officer will give you sighting reports on any ships in the vicinity that are within line of sight. And in this case there are only the 3 accompanying light cruisers, so there are four light cruisers in total. It's a completely hypothetical scenario, and the German patrol is going to have 4 light cruisers as well, and the British are based, this little detachment's based in the Solent, so we're looking west at the moment towards the south coast of England. The Isle of Wight is to our port, and Southampton Water is to the right, and now I'm basically learning as I go along now. It's been a long time since I played this, so you can type in various commands at the bottom there. So I just typed in a command to look west, and the screen didn't alter at all because I was looking west already. Top left hand corner you can see a compass. Top right hand corner there's a clock giving you the time of day, and there are a number of options here. You've got the orders that you can type in down the bottom. You've got a signal book and a bridge plot. More on those as we get into the game. So you can tell from the kind of hesitant way I'm using the mouse that I'm really rediscovering this game after absence of 20 years. So this is the bridge plot. There are 4 ships there. The white circle is your vision, how far you can see. If you click on any of the ship's names, you'll get a line pointing at that particular ship, so you can see the layout. The map, as I say, Isle of Wight is that large mass towards the middle bottom of the screen, and you've got the south coast of England above it. So that's basically all there is on the bridge plot at the moment. The reason it was the wrong decision to save the game every simulated half an hour is that I'm playing this using the original disc, which is write protected, so I kept getting a save error because it wasn't able to save the data to the disc. So I've tried to edit those out as much as possible. So here we are, I've typed in look at the Chatham, which is the flagship, and that's all it's doing. The Chatham is now in the middle part of the screen. Now I'm exploring the signal book. Basically, these are all the shortcuts, so you can either type these orders in, or you can pick them from various menus. So I'm just getting the sighting report again, which is just going to give me exactly the same message from my watch officer that I got at the beginning of the game. Just basically, as I say, experimenting at the moment with what's there. I don't think it's going to be a spoiler to tell you that I get absolutely slaughtered in this game because I was such a rookie at it. I really got punished for my indecisive ordering and so on, and my control of my fleet. More on that to come. Didn't want to quit. I typed in quit there, but quit will actually retire me from the game. Finish is what I wanted, and you can either type in finish or select finish or type in X, and it will run, I think it's 10 minutes of play. So now 10 minutes have gone by, and the Chatham is cruising at 8 knots westwards. I don't know if you noticed, but down the bottom of the screen you got sort of in black a brief description of what ships' decisions were, including the enemies, which is a bit unrealistic that you can select to have that hidden from you so that you don't know what the enemy is up to. But it gives you an idea of what's going on in the game, and some of the decisions your subsidiary captains are taking on their own account. Just had another quick look at the map there to see how it had altered. I wasn't sure at this point what the other ships were doing in terms of preliminary orders. So now I know there's an order patrol, so you can actually type in the grid references, the map references. I've only put the longitude in there, but you need the latitude as well. So I'm just correcting that, and I'm gonna send an order to my captain of the Chatham, my flagship, to patrol from 50 degrees 30 minutes north to 1 degree 30 minutes west. No, sorry, that's the longitude and latitude to start from, and then I'm typing in the patrol parameters for the end of the patrol, and it will just keep and the fleet should just keep cruising backwards and forwards between those 2 points. Made a mistake here in that I haven't put patrol from, so I'm going to have to correct that in a moment. This is a good example of how, if you do make an error there, it tells me to check my grammar. So I've typed in something grammatically incorrect. So I'm just working out what that is, and I realise that I haven't put patrol from to, so it would actually be much quicker to do this in the signal book, but it gives you an example of what you can do. You can either type or you can select from menus. There we go, and it's accepted that. So and then I'm typing in finish, but that's actually just X I want to put, and then it will run another 10 minutes of simulated time. I do get a bit slicker at this, I promise, but it's useful to show you this, just to show you. There, you see it's put X there, and now in black at the bottom is what the other ships are doing, including the Rostock is the flagship of the German fleet. Now we're looking southwest, and that was the Isle of Wight on the top of the screen, and you had a sort of very basic representation of the Needles at the sort of western tip of the Isle of Wight. I'm just checking again, just exploring and taking my time to re-familiarise myself with all the various aspects of the game at the moment. But what's sort of going to become the issue now is, how do I actually find the enemy? All I know is that there's a German patrol out there. I don't know where it is. So I'm looking. I tapped in look at the Weymouth, so that's the view from the Chatham, which is the ship in the foreground, towards the Weymouth, which is that tiny little speck up at the sort of top left corner of the screen there, just below the coast. I'm trying something different here. Look at, what will this be? Changed my mind. I couldn't remember the names of the ships, so I had to familiarise myself with going into the bridge. So I'm in command of the Chatham, the Dartmouth, the Falmouth, and the Weymouth. So I want to look at the Dartmouth. So this will give me the view from the Chatham to the Dartmouth. Gives you a better idea. So you can see the blue sort of gap at the top is the mouth of the Southampton Water. And basically my 4 ships are just beginning to sort of turn, and now I'm wondering whether they are going to follow me in any sort of formation. So I'm just giving some follow-up instructions now. I want the Weymouth to follow me. The Weymouth is the rear ship, and I've put the order in incorrectly. So what I should have put was signal Weymouth to follow, so I'm typing that in now. There we go, and it will obey that. And now I'm telling the Dartmouth, which is the second ship in line, I think, to follow me, to follow the Chatham. Yep, there we go. And that will work all right. And at this point, maybe I should point out that the signals rely principally on wireless, but you have got the ability, if the wireless is knocked out, which it frequently is, to signal with lamps or with flags. But then obviously you need to be within much closer distance. And they're running it again now, so the Chatham's patrolling, the Rostock is patrolling, and my communications officer's just informing me that the 3 ships have acknowledged my orders and they will obey. This is the view I get at the end of the next simulated segment. I'm still travelling west at the moment, so that is, I think it's Dalston Head it's called. I've got a map here. You do need the map. You do need the map for the grid with all the latitudes and longitudes on it. Dalston Head, yeah. So constant kind of jumping backwards and forwards between the bridge plot and views from various ships and so on gives you an idea of your sort of locality and your surroundings. You can also look at or look from geographical features, so that's actually going to play a part in this game later on. And again, I'm just looking at various options, thinking about what to do. I was getting confused there. You can, if you put the order helm in, you actually take over command of sort of captaining the flagship as well. You're much better off leaving it to the captain to do the manoeuvring and the sort of immediate decisions and concentrate on the grand strategy. So you do that by putting the order bridge in. So where you have orders in brackets bridge or orders in bracket helm, and that's the distinction between the two. So now I want to look south, so this will give me, because the Isle of Wight is to the south on my sort of port side, I'm in the Solent, and that is the Isle of Wight along the background there. So I'm still, still more or less in my kind of station. Now you can see travelling southwest, and you can see that representation of the Needles at the tip of the land there. That's. I thought at one point they were enemy ships, so I was trying to click on those to see, but they're not. And now it's just running through another simulated 10 minutes now. That was the first of the save errors that I tried to sort of edit out as much as possible, so that it didn't interrupt the representation too much. Another look at the bridge plot. So as I emerge from the Solent, I begin to kind of try and work out how I'm actually going to track the enemy fleet down. My choice of the patrol parameters was basically to patrol an area where I thought they might be, but I come up with a better plan in a moment. So I'm looking now, typing in look southwest from the Weymouth, and I'll get a view of the rear ship looking southwest, so the other 3 ships in the flotilla are represented there. Now it's running the simulated time, so I'm not having to do anything, just watching it run. Now we're back to the need to put some more orders in, looking from the Chatham. I'm not bothering, because I'm just basically want to get as quickly now to my patrol area as possible, so I just typed in X again. Might even do the same again in a moment, I'm not sure. No, I'm having a look round again. Look south. Again, there's the Isle of Wight with the needle, one of the needles just to the far right under the clock there. Look southwest think is the direction I'm more or less inclined to go. Now it's running through. Not much going on in the bottom there, it's just giving you a brief synopsis of what the other ships are doing. Now I'm travelling southwest, and I've just clicked X to keep doing the same. Another look at the bridge plot just to reassure myself that the ships are following. There they are, just sort of rounding the western end of the Isle of Wight. Just confirming that's the Chatham in the front. I was taking my time exploring. Oh yeah, this is where I decided I would look from a geographical feature. So I'm trying to find, I know the needles are in here somewhere. There's a whole database of locations that you can look from. There's the needles there. So I'm looking south from the needles I want. And there they are, so that's no help. I was hoping that maybe the German fleet would be, within sight of the needles rather than of my ships, but no such luck. Another failed save, so apologies for that. There's going to be quite a lot of those, but as I say, I did try and cut them out as much as I could. Now that white circle actually does grow or diminish in size depending on weather conditions, which is a nice touch. So at the moment, visibility is quite clear. I can see quite a long way. But shortly, it occurs to me that that bridge plot isn't the entire campaign map. It goes all the way to Plymouth, the map that I'm actually playing on. So it occurred to me to look from Portland Bill, which juts out into the sea, and see what I could see there. That will be coming up shortly. Decided against whatever that order was. Signal, what am I trying to do now? Signal the Weymouth. I think I get it to. I'm just looking to see what I can get. I'm just playing with my authority here, just seeing what I can get my various ships under my command to do. So I think I end up signalling it, telling me, send me your sighting report. Now that's useful. You see, if you were playing a much larger game. Oh no, I'm asking to send me the position report. So it's just shortly it will send me back an acknowledgement and then send me back its position report. But I don't really need to know that. But if you were playing a much larger game, you could have separate kind of flotilla in various areas of the map. So you could ask a very remote ship to send you a sighting report, and if it's spotted the enemy, it will let you know. I mean, it should let you know anyway. It shouldn't have to be asked. Once it's sighted the enemy, it should tell you that. But now we're in the age of the wireless. You have a much larger area. You're controlling ships well, miles away, not just within sight. So here we go. This is the position report that I've got from the Weymouth, so it's just telling me where it is and its course. but I could tell that just looking out from the bridge, because the Weymouth is actually in sight of me. So it's just a bit of an experiment with the rules at the moment. Now here I'm looking from the Dartmouth at the Weymouth, just for an alternative view. And the Dartmouth is the larger ship in the second in line at the top. At the Chatham is off the screen. Dartmouth is behind it. Then the Falmouth, and the Weymouth was that tiny little thing just in front of the needle. Excuse me, the Needles. Just typing in X now just to get going, get to my patrol station. I'm anxious to get to grips with the enemy. I know they're out there somewhere, I just don't know where. I'm going to try and search for them. That's my progress on the bridge plot. You can see my relationship with the Isle of Wight now. I'm sort of more sort of south-southwest of the Isle of Wight now. Now I've turned sort of east, and I began to wonder at this point whether I had reached the one end of my patrol point, and I really didn't want to be going east. You can see the sort of flotilla following me there, all heading east now. I suspect, it suddenly occurred to me, as I say, that on the map that comes with the game, it has got the enemy's start position, which is about where my ships are at the moment, and they're heading west. So I decided I wanted to turn round and try and find them somewhere to the west of this position. And then it occurred to me, as I say, that I could look from Portland Bill and get a pretty good oh yeah, no, I didn't want to do this. This was another another kind of, I was playing about and it was an error. I didn't. This is a bit of a false alarm there with that one. Yeah, so I'm asking now for a sighting report from my own ship. So again, I can see that for myself. So I'm still wondering whether a ship can spot the enemy and not tell me, but I was wrong in that. Yeah, so shortly I will be looking. So I'm still travelling east here, beginning to think what's going on, and pretty soon I'm going to ask for a view from. Yeah, I'm putting in different patrol points now. Having realised that I'm sort of heading in the wrong direction, so I type in a couple more patrol parameters to take me further to the west rather than go to the east. So I have to look these longitude and latitude details up on the map, which is why it takes me a little while to type them in, because I have to kind of like read off the grid references on the map. But it has that feel about it, you know, of even though the graphics are really, you know, crude by modern standards, you get that feeling of having to work, you know, having to actually study maps and think kind of strategically and think of ways of tracking the enemy down and so on, and keep your ships together. And this, remember, this is just the the training scenario. Really simple. You haven't got very much to do. You've just got to keep these 4 ships together. And as I say, I proved fairly suboptimal at it. Right, so now I've got a new patrol destination, so I'm heading southwest again now. There we go. So I'm heading more back towards the area where I know the Germans are likely to be, based on intelligence from the map that came with the game. So now I'm looking south, thinking they might be out on the horizon, I think. No, it's southwest. From the Weymouth. Oh, so this is just giving me a view of, hopefully, of there's the Weymouth. It seems to have caught up, or maybe maybe that's the Falmouth in front of it, and the other 2 ships are off to the left. So now the simulation's just running again. I know the Vostok's out there because it's telling me that it's on patrol. But that's all I know. X again, just to let a bit more time go on, so I know I'm heading in the right direction now. So at the moment I seem to be heading due south, but that's probably because I haven't got to the start of my new patrol area. Simulation running again. Another error message. Now I appear to be on course, on the right, heading in the right direction now. The flotilla's obviously turning to the west now. Yeah, there we go. Compass confirms it up there. There are orders in the signal book, compass and clock, and I wondered what they do. So I try them out later, and all they do is hide them, so if you wanted sort of better view without the compass, but it's useful to have them both up in the screen there, so it gives you an idea of time of day. Is important as well, because the night does fall. You know, you can take this battle right through as many hours as it requires to finish. There's not a time limit on it. Not sure what that is. I think it says about 2:10 in the afternoon at the moment. Right, now this is where I'm asking it to look south, and I tried to find Portland Bill, which is a useful spot because it does sort of jut out into the sea. There we go. Look south from Portland Bill, and this is the view you get from Portland Bill, and there are the enemy. So now I can use my telescope, and that is the Rostock. That's the flagship of the enemy, heading west, so it's heading away from me. It's 23,000 yards south of Portland Bill. So that's the sort of realistic, ploy, because there would be naval kind of observation posts along the coast, and they would be able to relay a message to me that they've sighted the enemy. So that's a sort of useful kind of tool that you can use. Right, so I just click X here just to, you know, as I'm heading in roughly the right direction. I'm heading southwest now, but another bright idea comes to me shortly, that if I actually set course for Portland Bill, then if the enemy ships could be seen from Portland Bill, then I should see the enemy ships myself. But that the penny hasn't dropped at this point. It's now 2:20, so another 10 minutes have gone by. This is where I'm sort of trying to work out how to do it. So I've taken over the helm, but can't work out how to, you know, steer the ship in the direction I want it to go. But I actually don't need to. All I need to do is order the captain to take the ship in the direction I want it to go, and he will obey. This is where I get rid of the compass accidentally, trying to work out what the compass does. So that will disappear for 10 minutes in a moment, or 10 simulated minutes in a moment. This is where I try and signal the Chatham, so I get an error message when I try and type this in, because I'm trying to signal myself. Oh no, actually this may work actually. No, Admiral's some confusion here. Yeah, so that doesn't work. But then I realise that all I need to do, I've still got the helm here. I think I type in full speed and it obeys. No, I'm going to go back to the bridge, obviously. Yeah, so I've given up on that exercise. Type text in, so it's running another 10 minutes. Another error message. Oh, it must be 5 minutes actually. Oh no, could have been 10. You'll notice the compass is missing at the moment, so I'm typing it and it comes back. Heading west. Just looking back to the rearward ship, just to make sure they're all still there and they're more or less following me in formation. Happy with that, so it's running another 10 minutes. Having another look from Portland Bill, I think. Oh no, Big Bree Bay this time. That's a bit too far west. So nothing there. So I have another look from Portland Bill. Newton Ferrers won't be any use to me. That's virtually in Plymouth. Nice little place, often go there for walks along the coast. Trying to find Portland Bill now. There it is. I just went past it, I missed it. There it is. No, you can do it, Ralph, come on. There it is. I want look south from Portland Bill. And you just got a very brief glimpse before the landmass appeared there of the ships, so I spotted that. So now I'm going to look southwest from Portland Bill, send, and there they are. So that's the rear ship, I think, the Elbing. It's heading northwest, so they're still heading, they've rounded Portland Bill now and they're heading along the coast, which, you know, sort of runs northwest southeast at that point. So they're still heading away from me. They're clearly up to some mischief, so I need to catch up with them as soon as possible and set them straight. So here we go. I'm trying a bit of freehand here, and it does recognise a lot of keywords, so I think it will recognise this. Set a course for Portland Bill, but unfortunately I don't put Portland Bill in, I put Portland, and it doesn't like that. So I realise what I've done. Correct that. No, I obviously got flummoxed at that point. I will get that right in a minute. Something's gone wrong here, obviously, because the Falmouth is heading west, but I'm heading east. So I think this is what I mean about all my indecisive ordering and so on. They probably thought I was setting a course for Portsmouth, so it's turned the ship around. But you can't have this kind of poor seamanship in battle, and I get punished for it, as you'll find later in the game. All this sort of fumbling about, I pay heavily for it. Trying to work out what I'm doing at the moment. So yeah, I see the compass confirms I'm heading east. So now, this is where I decide there's got to be a way of setting my course for Portland Bill. I'm looking south at the moment just to see. I want to look south from Portland Bill again. No sight of the Germans now. Look southwest from Portland Bill. Got it right, finally got it right. And there they are. So they're still heading kind of like northwest along that stretch of coast. Set a course for Portland Bill, and it accepts it. No problems with that grammar at all. And off we go. Chatham set course, Weymouth following me. That was an error as well, by the way, putting that Weymouth follow right at the beginning, because obviously all the ships had. I'm trying to type in full speed now, and it accepted that, but the captain doesn't like it because there's no need, so he asks permission to go at cruising speed, so I go with his better judgment and say yes. Yeah, but the Weymouth for the rest of the game ends up kind of following me rather than being in formation, and that was a kind of rookie error that has an impact on the game later on, as you'll see. It's now 3:05 in the afternoon. On the map you can see immediately north, that area there is Dalston Head. So I've got quite a long way to go before I get to Portland Bill yet, and of course the enemy are still heading northwest. So they're not getting any closer. That's a view north, so that is Dalston Head on the top of the screen. Simulation running now. I'm now heading northwest, so I'm heading towards that Portland Bill. Right, now, finally, visibility is good, and my watch officer's telling me there's an enemy ship, the Rostock, bearing 25,000 yards west, and it's heading east, so it's heading back in my direction. So the fleets will be closing. We can also see the Regensburg. That's 27,000 yards west, heading east at 25 knots. So now on my bridge plot, I've got two German ships. There they are at the left of the screen, and their details. So there's the Rostock, there's the Regensburg. So battle will soon be joined. So now I'm making I've decided I want to give the fleet some preliminary orders now. So I'm telling the Dartmouth I want it to fire at the Regensburg. Fire at the Regensburg. So Dartmouth is second in line, the Regensburg is second in line. So that seems to make sense. For some reason, this is where I was getting excited now. So I give the Dartmouth exactly the same orders. I think I was intending that order to go to the Falmouth, I don't know. No, this is the order to the Falmouth. What am I going to ask it? Fire at... I think I tell it the Regensburg as well, yeah. And then I'm going to, I'm telling my own ship to fire at the Rostock. And I think what I've done now is, I was under the impression that I'd given orders to the other three ships, and I'd repeated the same order to one ship. So I'd missed out the Weymouth. And now you can see the enemy ship there. And the captain wants to close range. So I've said yes, and off we go. Simulation running. And he's also now wants to pick up to full speed. And the gunnery control officer's telling me the enemy ship is still a long way out of range. And I'm getting acknowledgements of my firing signals here, and I realise at this point that I've given the Dartmouth a duplicate order. And there's a couple of other German ships coming into range of sight now, the Pilau and the Elbing. So I now know I've got 4 ships to deal with. This is where I realise the Weymouth doesn't have any orders in terms of combat. I decided that I was thinking about getting it to fire at the Elbing, but I'm going to have 2 ships firing at the Rostock and 2 ships firing at the Regensburg, and off we go. And the German ships, unfortunately, seem to have a longer range than my ships, and they open fire first. So we're still 4,000 yards up beyond our maximum range, but the German guns are going to open up soon. Weymouth has acknowledged my signal. There go the guns. I'm firing back. So the grey puffs are the guns firing. The white splashes are obviously shells dropping in the water. And if there are any hits, then you'll see a kind of yellowish kind of flash. If there's dramatic damage, then you get big black plumes, but that doesn't actually happen in this game. But if a ship gets struck by a torpedo. So I've asked for a damage report of my own ship, which I can get back immediately. And nothing's struck yet, so everything is fine. The damage reports come back immediately saying everything's working well. It's not going to last long. Just getting an idea from the bridge plot of the general layout. That's the Rostock I'm clicking on, I think. Yep. Rostock now heading southeast in a 13,000 yard range. I think I asked for another damage report at this point. Although I didn't spot any yellow kind of flashes on my ship, so I don't think I took any hits during that exchange of fire. So the Germans seem to be turning away from the British at the moment. They're probably just trying to maintain a sort of a range. Signal the Dartmouth. I wanted to send a damage report just to see if it's been hit. But that will take a while to come back. I'm doing the same with all the ships, I think. I'm just asking for a view of the Rostock now, because it seems to be the best way of actually observing the battle. Probably type in X here, yeah. So now the Rostock is out of range of our guns. The ships are just acknowledging the damage report requests. Got hit there. Another hit. Another. Another. And now the captains recognise that we're within torpedo attack range, so we've loosed 2 torpedoes. Should give them something to think about, but I took a bit of damage there. There was some very clear flashes, so probably ask for another damage report in a moment to see what damage has been done. Looking through my telescope, just confirming I understand the layout of the German formation. I'm asking my own ship for a damage report, so I'll get this back immediately. So the control part is, damage control is okay. They've got small fire burning, which is out of control. It's not under control at all. Steering's still fine, engines are fine. A couple of turrets are damaged but repairable, but one turret is damaged beyond repair. Got 3 torpedo attacks left. Wireless is working. So a couple of my gun turrets damaged and one knocked out. And the enemy are firing torpedoes at me. So the captain wants to try and escape them. These are the damage reports coming back. So they also give you the position. I don't think at this point any of the other ships have taken any damage at all. Enemies concentrating on me. Yeah, everything's fine. So it's only me. I've taken quite a bit of damage. Right, so it looked then like my mask got hit. Looked like a couple of hits on the enemy, but I'm going to ask for a damage report, and I'm pretty sure this is where my mask got hit. So it knocked the wireless out. Now I've got a small fire. Boilers are losing pressure, reducing the maximum speed. Similar kind of situation with the gun turrets. Wireless mask disabled, yeah. So now I'm down to lamps and flags to signal. Makes it a lot harder. So I won't be able to get damage reports, etc. back from the other ships too easily now. Right, so things aren't going to plan at all. Doesn't look like we're doing much damage on the enemy, and the flagship is being hammered. At the moment I'm heading east, trying to open up a bit of range and escape those torpedoes that have been fired. If they hit, it would be a disaster. So just getting an idea of the layout of the battle again from the bridge plot. If you notice as well, it looks like the white circle's diminishing in size, so visibility is getting a little bit poorer. That plays a role later. I just want to look at the Weymouth from the Chatham. And just sort of orientating myself. Really, it's important to keep doing that. Now I'm looking at the Rostock, just to get a picture of the gunfire, but I think sailing away from the Rostock. Captain wants to maintain range. If you notice, I took some hits, another one of my ships took some hits, but it did look like at least one of the German ships, a few flashes there. This is the damage report. So I've lost both my torpedo tubes now. So the Weymouth is doggedly kind of following me, not being terribly useful in the fight. So I'm still trying to signal. So I suspect it was the Falmouth that was hit, but I get a message back from the signals officer saying that they don't acknowledge the signal and the wireless is out, but he's going to keep trying. Excuse me. I think I'm a bit punch drunk from all the shells that have hit me now, because right now I type in the Dartmouth to attack the Rostock, and it turns out attack actually means do a torpedo run at them. So that was my mistake. I thought it just meant fire at. There we go. Falmouth has not acknowledged the send report signal. But the Dartmouth has, so I think that was probably a message you got through with flags. So the Dartmouth is going to go in. Again, took a lot of damage, took a lot of hits anyway, so this damage report isn't going to read very well. Damage control officers have been injured, so there's no damage control at the moment. Sizable fire burning, and still steer. Boilers are still losing pressure. Guns haven't altered at all in terms of the damage. So it's the fire to worry about most of all at the moment. I think I begin to flood soon as well. Right, now at this point, I'm just curious to know how much damage the Germans have taken. Oh no, I don't. I do at some stage type the order points in, and that tells me how many points damage the Germans have as well as I have. So it gives me an idea if my shell fire is having any effect. Looking through the telescope at the Rostock. It's only 8,000 yards. That's quite short range for these big guns. So the message not getting through to the Falmouth. And again, saw one flash on a German ship there, but probably took more damage myself. This is where I begin to wonder what the Dartmouth is up to as well. So I'm looking at the Dartmouth from the Weymouth. And then seeing how far the Rostock is from the Dartmouth. Captain wants to escape torpedoes. Right, so the Falmouth has now got, so maybe the wireless is working again now, or maybe sending it by flag. Similar kind of thing. I did see one flash on a German ship, but I think the British are definitely getting the worst of it. Certainly the Chatham is. So I think that's the Weymouth in between my ship, that where the cursor is at the moment. Pretty sure that's the Weymouth desperately trying to stay close to me rather than concentrate on the battle. A lot of the ships are twisting and turning to try and escape torpedoes, which makes it a bit more confusing as well. I want a damage report there, so I have to correct that in a moment. So no damage control at the moment. Dangerous blaze. 60 tons of water flooding the ship, a small amount. Can still steer. Boilers aren't any more damaged. A, B, D and H are damaged, gun turrets. Wireless mast still disabled. So I am only sending signals by line of sight. I want Dartmouth in the fight. This is why I keep looking at the Rostock from the Dartmouth. Oh, they are a bit closer. So I got the my ship's in the centre of the circle there, with the Weymouth very close to me. There. So my I've separated now into sort of two pairs of ships, and a little bit more uncoordinated because I can't get wireless messages through. Things are, you know, definitely unravelling now. So check on the damage. There's now an inferno burning and no damage control. 10 more tons of water, so still not a significant amount. Now down to 16 knots. So things are looking bad. I'm running out of options of what to do now. I want to try and convey my flag to the Weymouth, which is still in a good state, but it's too dangerous to cross because of all the gunnery going on. So that's not an option. I can't get off this ship, which is sinking. All I can really do is sit there and take it at the moment and hope that the Dartmouth here can actually pull something out of the bag. Well, my damage control pod has been reorganised, but that gunnery exchange was looking from the Dartmouth, and you could see that the Dartmouth was getting clobbered as well then. Now we're looking from my flagship again. And the range is dropping now, so only the Regensburg is in sight. Visibility is diminishing. Right, now it liked that order. That's ordering my ship to engage the Regensburg, which is the only one I can see. But unfortunately, again, I misinterpret what engage means, and I think it means pursue. The AI interprets it as pursue, which is not something I really want to do. I just wanted to fire at it. So now the Rostock is still in view of the Dartmouth, and the captain's asking me to close range with the Regensburg. This is the view from the Dartmouth, remember, at the moment. Right, we've got the flood under control, and the damage on the Dartmouth looked considerable then. And all this time I'm ignoring the Falmouth, and my fleet is being sort of picked off piecemeal, and the Falmouth is about to come to grief, I'm afraid. I can still only see the Regensburg from my bridge. Weymouth is just following me, it's not doing anything. So I've decided I want to try and get it to act in some way. So I'm signalling it. And again I use this attack, oh no I don't, fire at, yeah there we go. Fire at the Regensburg, which is the only ship that I can see. So that message is going to have to go by flag signal. Right, we've got a bit of engine repair, and the Rostock is now back in view, as is the Pilau and the Elbing, so I've now got sight of all the German ships. That one being the Elbing. Which is almost sort of due west of me. But you can see I'm separated out even more now. There's me and the Weymouth in the centre of the screen, and the Dartmouth and the Falmouth are right up on the north of that circle, taking a lot of punishment. So I decide I'm going to try and pick on one of the smaller ships, or lesser ships. And this is me looking at it now, the Pilau. I'm out of range, so I'm having no effect on the battle. And the Chatham watch officer is telling me the Falmouth has sunk. It took so much damage and I wasn't even paying attention to it. And we lost sight of the Dartmouth. So at this point I can only see two of the enemy ships. One of my ships is lost. Dartmouth is over the horizon somewhere. But I do try and see if it will let me look, I think, at the Yeah, look at the Rostock from the Falmouth, I think, and it tells me that the ship is lost. Ship has been lost. So I can't do that any longer. I haven't got that viewpoint. So now I'm trying to look, see how distant the Dartmouth is from the Rostock. Oh, and they're still, you know, within reasonable gunnery range of one another. I do wonder whether the German ships are kind of hugging the coastline as well to make them less visible. I'm not sure whether the software is that sophisticated, but I suspect it probably is. And now the captain's asking me permission to abandon ship. So while I'm in a lifeboat in the water, the program is just going to run until I can get back on board a ship. So now it will run under its own steam for a while. Rostock's got an order to repair. So I'm still afloat but out of action, and I personally, Admiral Sheldrake, is sitting in a lifeboat at the moment. The Dartmouth, this is the view from the Dartmouth. It's taking punishment from all 4 German ships. Chatham is now sunk. And the Weymouth is rescuing lifeboats, which is good. Dartmouth looks like it's doing a runner. Yep, head for home. And the Rostock is pursuing me, well, the Dartmouth. Right, now I'm aboard the Weymouth, so it's now my flagship, and they have got working wireless, so it's getting in touch with the Dartmouth. So now I've got a few options open to me, but rather than do the discreet thing and head for home, I decide I'm just going to battle on. I can see the Rostock and none of the other German ships, so I'm going to have one more crack at it. And I'm also going to try and signal the Dartmouth and get it to be returned to the fight, but it's a long way down the coast now. Just charging in now. Attack, you see, I didn't realise, but it's a torpedo attack. Just checking on the damage report of the Weymouth, and this just shows how badly I've used it, because it hasn't taken a scratch at all. So out of range. So both Rostock and Weymouth closing range with one another. Dartmouth thinks. Yeah, the Dartmouth thinks I've ordered it to torpedo attack as well. All the other German ships are in sight now. 4 against 1 again. Couldn't have handled this worse. Seeing if the Dartmouth can see the Regensburg. But I don't know where the Dartmouth is. Oh no, I think the Dartmouth doesn't know where the Regensburg is. Just general view west from the Dartmouth. Nothing to be seen. Northwest from the Dartmouth. Nothing to be seen. Southwest from the Dartmouth, that's what I'm going to go for. So I'm completely on my own, that means. So this is going to be my view at the Rostock from the Chatham. No, from the Weymouth, sorry, I forgot the Chatham sunk. Right, so now the Dartmouth has hove into view. There's me. Rostock is virtually beside me. Firing torpedoes. Still not taking any damage. If you notice the clock as well, it's getting on a little bit early evening. Visibility is going to diminish fairly soon. Looking at the Rostock. Captain wants to get away. So there's no point in being so close now that I can't expend any more torpedoes, which is why the captain's trying to open the range from the Rostock. There's the Rostock. I'm the mark in the centre of the screen, the Weymouth. I want to see the Dartmouth's perspective on the Rostock, which is this. Looking through the telescope. That's the Regensburg, so the Rostock must be off to the left. This is going to be my view from the Weymouth. Maybe not. Yeah, now I'm typing in, so I want to see the Rostock from my new flagship. I think it's that one there. Rostock, yeah. So the Germans look like they're in hot pursuit of me there, quite rightly. I've been well and truly hammered. They want to finish me off, finish the two remaining British ships off. So this is the view of the Dartmouth from the Weymouth. Dartmouth is heading off as well, heading northeast. So it hasn't got an appetite for a fight anymore. Hot on my tail. See what damage has been done to the Weymouth. Small fire. One turret damaged beyond repair. No torpedo tubes left. So it's not as significant as the Chatham's damage. So things are looking pretty dire, really. It's around about this point that I do decide to see what the points are. It's just in the vain hope that at least one of the German ships is close to sinking. I think I'm asking for a damage report. Yeah, damage. I want the Dartmouth to give me a damage report. Solent is approaching, so back into a safe haven if I can get there. Checking my damage. Small fire still. One turret damaged beyond repair, and the torpedo tubes, so this is the damage report on the Dartmouth. I don't think they've taken much damage at all. They've hardly been in the fight. Yeah, all the turrets working. Run out of torpedoes. So no damage on them at all. So I'm still trying to persuade the Dartmouth to be more aggressive. Engage the Rostock. They're very reluctant to. This is the view from the Weymouth to the Rostock. Right, so we got turret G been repaired. I just don't know what the Dartmouth is doing. I think it's trying harder to follow me now than it is to attack the enemy. This is what I mean about all my confused orders and so on. Didn't have a battle plan. This was more about just learning the game again though, so I've enjoyed it, but been punished for my mistakes. Once you put a fire out that I didn't know existed. Now this is where I type in points. So I've lost 5,400 points for the Chatham sinking, 5,250 points for the Falmouth sinking. I've gained 118 points for the crew being saved. Weymouth suffered 24 points. Rostock 185, Regensburg 8. So I've scored 311 against 10,674 for the Germans. So I've just been completely overwhelmed. So I'm beginning to think about quitting the game at this point. And I'm wondering what orders I need to put in, but I think I'll let it run for another couple of turns. Yeah, so I think during that the Dartmouth was the one taking all the fire. This is again the view from the Weymouth to the Rostock. That must be the Dartmouth where my cursor is now up. Yeah, just looking through a telescope. Dartmouth heading northwest, range 6,000 yards. So it's still the wrong side of me to the fleet. There's the German fleet. Now it's getting darker. It's 5 to 7, or was that 5 to 8 in the evening? The light is failing. Could be a good chance to slip away as the visibility diminishes. So I've well and truly lost this game. Just thinking of my options really. Look from the Dartmouth at the Rostock. Yeah, I think at this point is I'm looking through the rule book, trying to find how to quit the scenario. Um, it's the view again from the Weymouth to the Rostock. Signal the Dartmouth. Disengage. Yeah, I'm going to tell it to head for home and try and do the same myself, and then quit the game having lost ignominiously. I'm not quite sure what the order is, you see, so it doesn't like home, which I thought it would accept. Trying it again, because I was so sure it was the correct order, it wasn't. So in the end I think I just click quit, and that's it, the end of the game. There you go, that's the edited version of my game. There were lots of periods where I was just sort of frantically searching through the instruction manual, trying to find out how to get my ships to behave in the way I wanted them to. But half the fun is sort of learning, you know, getting slicker at learning, and that was certainly a useful training scenario. So I can, you know, sort of venture into the more challenging historical scenarios now. So hope you enjoyed it. Thank you very much for watching, and see you on the next video. Bye for now.